My friends, what just happened was not just a mere round of formal diplomacy. What you are about to see now is the real-time dismantling of the biggest blackmail and control scheme in modern history. While the mainstream media tries to distract you with secondary issues, the global geopolitical chessboard has just been turned upside down in New Delhi, India. The US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, and the Indian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Jai Shankar, sat at the table and signed an unprecedented agreement. And you will find out what Brazil has just lost. My friends, the definitive structure for critical minerals of the Pacific Axis has been established. And I tell you now with absolute clarity, this is not a trade agreement. This is an open declaration of war against the Chinese Communist Party. It's the execution order for the infamous dragon. Donald Trump has just cut, with a single blow, the rotten umbilical cord that fed China's hegemony over the West. He did to the Chinese Communist Party what no other president had the courage, vision, or strength to do. He broke the dragon's backbone. And today, in this video, you will understand not only how the West is breaking free, but also how Brazil, the country that holds the key to this global vault, is being brutally sabotaged by a government that prefers to save criminal factions and totalitarian power projects rather than save the sovereignty of its own nation. And this is serious. And no one is going to talk about this on Jornal Nacional, on Fantástico, or even on Ana Maria Braga's show. Now subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like on the video because it takes work to make it. For you to understand the seismic weight of this signing in India, we need to look at the past and understand how we got here. In the 1970s and 1980s, the American political elite made the biggest strategic mistake in their history. To stop the overwhelming advance of the Soviet Union during the Cold War, the United States decided to open its doors to China. Yes, they invested billions, transferred technology, handed over factories, and more frightening than all of that, outsourced the very foundation of Western survival. To the Beijing regime, the Chinese Communist Party, the West fed the monster. And that's how what I call the mineral handcuff syndrome was born. Engrave this in your mind now. The mineral handcuff. Every time you turn on your cell phone, every time an electric car leaves the factory, and every time a precision missile tears through the sky, there's an invisible chain that links this equipment directly to Beijing. And we're talking about rare earths, elements like neodymium, lanthanum, and dysprosium. You must have heard a lot about this in recent weeks and months on social media and in the news, but isolated data doesn't mean anything. What are these rare earths in the real world? Pay attention. Without these minerals, the Javelin missile's guided warhead wouldn't exist. Without these minerals, the F-35 stealth fighter, the United States' most advanced war machine, which carries more than 400 kilos of rare earths in its engines and radars, simply wouldn't get off the ground. Without rare earths, the semiconductor industry comes to a halt and the world goes back to the digital stone age. China did not conquer the world through technical competence or superior innovation. China won because the Western elite allowed them to put the mineral handcuffs on our wrists. They dominated the extraction and, most importantly, the dirty and complex processing of these materials. They created the monopoly from the sidelines. They isolated any competitors by selling artificially cheap until all the mines in the West went bankrupt so they could then dictate the rules and blackmail the world. But hold on. Stop everything you're doing and think with me for a second. If China has the whole world hostage to its mineral processing technology, why is the Asian dragon suddenly bleeding? Why is Beijing panicking over this Marco Rubio deal in India? And the most important question, why did Brasilia, which should be making trillions from this trade war, try to hide this information? What the Brazilian government is doing with our resources behind the scenes is what should be on the front page of every newspaper in the country in big bold letters. But the mainstream media, as always, is keeping a complicit, deathly silence. Now we reach the bleeding heart of our analysis. Don't forget Brazilian. Brazil is not just a mere spectator in this war of giants. We own the second largest reserve of rare earths and critical minerals on the entire planet Earth. The world demands our resources. And what is the false narrative that the left and the biased media try to force down the people's throats? They spend the whole day shouting into microphones that the right and the Bolsonaros want to give Brazil away. that they want to sell our sovereignty to the Americans. Look at the level of dishonesty. The level of dishonesty. It's exactly the opposite. The ones who are liquidating our national assets for next to nothing, handing over our resources to the Chinese Communist Party, are the current Lula government. For example, a uranium mining site, one of the largest in the world located in Brazil, was recently sold to China for next to nothing. And that's just one example of what we've already lost to the Chinese. And there's more. The Brazilian government is using our greatest natural resource as a bargaining chip to save the skin of shady allies, to shield the legal system that protects figures like Alexandre de Moraes, and to keep intact the flow of power that sustains this decaying structure. Yes, my friends, that's what Lula did recently by handing over the largest data mining operation. Data, Brazil's rare earths to the United States. The trade-off? Leaving Alexandre de Moraes alone. And certain factions that we will talk about later on. Brazil is being sold cheaply to keep the regime's allies. And here comes the turning point. The master stroke. The reality check that made the PT's diplomacy break out in a cold sweat. Lula thought he could use our lithium, our niobium, and our rare earths to bargain for political and legal support internationally, flirting with dictatorships. But he forgot who was on the other side of the counter in Washington. Donald Trump delivered the coup de grâce. The American president made a historic decision. He officially classified Brazil's largest criminal factions, the Primeiro Comando da Capital, PCC, and the Comando Vermelho, as international terrorist organizations. Do you understand the seriousness and weight of that signature? Yes, my friends. And once again, our rare earths were offered to save them. Because when the US State Department and the US Treasury classify
facções como terroristas internacionais, qualquer instituição, banco ou
government, the American government classifies the government, the US Treasury classifies it, and once again, the US Treasury actions, it starts to be treated as unprecedented, enemies and financiers of terror. Trump wiped out Lula's government's strategy all at once. The message from Washington was cold and lethal. We are not going to negotiate with the American government. The Treasury classifies it as dangerous, and once again, it's dangerous. And again, lands in a situation of inequality. And that's why we need to think about this, that maybe this, and this, our services don't have this. Military and Treasury offered. The House of Cards in Brasilia collapsed. And what is the direct consequence of trying to play smart in the big leagues? The bill came on May 26th. The partnership that should have been Brazil's went to India. Yes, the agreement signed by Marco Rubio in New Delhi covered the entire value chain of minerals. Smart mining, high-tech refining, clean processing, and recycling of critical scrap. It's an infrastructure designed to strengthen the global supply chain of semiconductors, defense systems, electric vehicles, and clean energy. But the part that makes the system shake isn't just the paperwork, it's the numbers. Washington has committed more than $30 billion. $30 billion in financing and support, added to mountains of investments from the American private sector that will flood India with this money. Now, with the second largest reserve of rare minerals in the world, wasn't this money supposed to come into Brazil? No, my friends, they traded that for Alexandre de Moraes. Yeah, my friend, this pact isn't just about business. It's a definitive shield to fight against China's market coercion practices and to eliminate the dependence on Beijing's mineral chokehold. This agreement is directly aligned with the objectives of the Quad, the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue between the United States, India, Japan, and Australia, and the Mineral Security Pact led by the Americans. And Brazil, well, where is Brazil in this economic revolution? Isolated, downgraded to a pariah on the international stage. Meanwhile, India is a nation that plays geopolitical chess with mastery, shields itself with Western technology, attracts $30 billion, and positions itself as the new engine of the free world. The Brazilian government insists on desperately clinging to the legs of the Chinese model, the model that Donald Trump has just shattered. Lula chose to sink while embracing the paper dragon. We are witnessing the twilight of an era. The predatory Chinese hegemony took a shot to the chest. And the blackmail tactics of the Latin American left were crushed by the American terrorist designation. The truth is out there, wide open. But will the television networks keep lying to you? Yes, they will. trying to hide that we lost the greatest opportunity for reindustrialization in our history purely out of ideological complicity with narco-terrorism and with Eastern dictatorships. That's why I'm calling on you now to take a stand with us. Show the algorithm and the bureaucrats in Brasilia that we are the intellectual elite who see the board far beyond the surface. Go down to the comments of this video right now and type our verdict. Write it in capital letters. Strike on the dragon. Yes, type that now. Let's make the system understand that our community knows exactly what Rubio's verdict and Trump's signature mean for the future of the world. And if you no longer accept being made a fool by the rigid narratives of the mainstream media, if you've realized that open networks are a minefield of censorship and suppression of the truth, you need to understand one thing. We are on rented ground. Your mind needs shelter, and we've built the ultimate fortress. I invite you to enter our intelligence bunker today. An exclusive private platform, 100% free from any kind of gag or censorship. We are already a legion with more than 3,000 strategic analysts. They are citizens like you and me who fund the truth and dedicate themselves daily to maps, raw data, and confidential reports to understand what is really happening before chaos reaches your wallet. Point your phone now at the QR code on the screen. Click immediately on the link I left in the description and in the first pinned comment. Access to unfiltered reality is just a click away. Also, for those of you who already are on our team fighting alongside us, we've prepared a launch that's going to change the rules of the game on the internet. We've kicked things off and launched our newest channel on YouTube in a massive partnership with my friend Davio Mescani from the respected channel Viva Israel. Together, we've created the largest community of elite analysts on this platform. This new monumental project is called Ponto de Ruptura. And so that we can start breaking the system from the very first second, I'm calling on my entire army to subscribe there right now. Help us reach the insane goal of 100,000 subscribers in 30 days. The link is in the description, in the first comment, and in the card. Right here on this little circle with my face and Davies, just click and subscribe directly. Now, for those of you who are tired of spending an hour scrolling through Netflix or Amazon looking for a cool show or a good series to watch with your family, I've solved this problem for you. Shimon, yes, my friend, we created a channel with tips on series and movies. With everything already filtered, no woke culture, no whining, and if there is any, we'll let you know about it just the way it is. Also, you can have fun with your family. So, don't forget to check out the tips for the weekend. Excellent movies, really cool series that will help you relax and unwind at home. Alright? Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, leave a like on the video. It takes work to make it. Yes, treat your mind. I'm Shimon Oliveira, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.